Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're having a great day so far and welcome to today's video, which is going to be all about these new Unreal liquid blushes from Hourglass. I picked up 2 shades to try for the first time with you guys. Today I'm going to be sharing all of the information that you need to decide whether these are for you or not, as well as a demo and some comparisons. So without further ado, let's get started. Okay, so these new Hourglass Unreal liquid blushes, they will set you back £38 or $36 for 10.3 mils of product. They are available in 7 shades. I picked up 2 shades, Moment, which is described as a warm peach, and Scene, which is described as a soft warm pink. As per the brand, this claims to be a liquid blush that visibly plumps with hydration and delivers unreal buildable colour for a natural finish that stays in place for up to 12 hours. Infused with our Unreal Lifting Complex, this serum-like formula instantly hydrates to plump and visibly firm for smoother looking skin all day. Upon application, the silky texture effortlessly melts into skin to instantly lift cheeks with colour, providing all-day weightless wear. The innovative packaging features a precision dropper that allows you to customise your desired look from a soft wash of colour to a vibrant flush. So that was a whole bunch of some pretty wild claims there. The key points that Hourglass are claiming for these blushes are that they are lifting, firming and hydrating on the skin. They have a natural finish, buildable amount of colour and an innovative dropper design to allow you to really control how much blush you want. They are also vegan and cruelty free. So let's take a close-up look at this packaging and that little dropper in action. So I think these bottles are beautiful. They are really diddy and perfect for travel because they are nice and small and compact. Twist off cap and there is that nozzle. If you can see, that black bit on the bottom is this sort of push button. It's a rubber texture and you basically turn this upside down and push that button to get the product to come out. Oh, and it actually worked very well. So you can see it's not super runny or watery. This is the shade Scene. Let's give that a bit of a blend out so you can see the colour there. Gorgeous. I don't typically go for pinks, especially in my blush, but I felt like the sort of online pictures, there was this image that I saw where it looked a lot more maybe mauve, a lot more neutral than I think in reality it is. So yeah, that was a different shade for me. Not something I would have typically chosen, but I feel like the pictures of on the models made it look quite different, but we'll see how it looks on my cheeks because perhaps it will read slightly differently on my skin tone. Okay, now let's look at Moment, which is the peachy shade, much more up my street. Giving these a good shake as per the instructions. Yeah, so that button that you press on the bottom, it's very easy to push. It's not fiddly, you don't have to press it hard. If you turn the product upside down, it's a very light press. And here is Moment, nice and blended out. Beautiful. So my immediate thoughts just swatching these and playing around with these over the last couple of days with regards to the packaging. First up, you do really need to give these a really good shake. The first time I sort of played with these for swatching purposes, I didn't shake one of them, and when I squeezed the button, it came out very watery and with very little pigment. It was just kind of clear, and that's obviously because the product inside wasn't mixed together properly. So you must give them a really good shake. The other thing about this packaging is it does slightly limit how you can use and apply it when you compare it to something like the Armani liquid blushes that come with a doe foot like this. So bear that in mind. It depends how you like to apply your liquid blushes, but it's just something that kind of occurs to me that because of the dropper, you will have to sort of dispense this onto something else before applying it to the cheeks. Obviously the Armani, you could, you know, run that onto the back of your hand, or you could run the doe foot onto your brush, or you can apply it directly to your cheeks. So if you're traveling or something, you don't need to bring a tool. You can just literally apply it using the doe foot and tap in with fingers or a brush or a sponge, whatever you would like. With the dropper from these Hourglass blushes, you can't really, I wouldn't recommend dropping it onto your face, because unless you're very, very careful, it could go everywhere. You could miss, get it in the wrong place. It's just slightly less convenient to me, because you are going to need to drop it onto the back of your hand or a palette or a brush first. You don't have the option to apply it directly onto your cheeks, or you could, but I feel like it's just not as easy as something like the Armani blushes with the doe foot. The Rare Beauty also have the doe foot. The Charlotte Tilbury have that little sponge tip that lots of people hate, but they do have that option to apply to the back of your hand or directly onto the skin, whereas the dropper here is going to make that a lot more tricky. Okay, so that is all of the initial information about these blushes. Let's jump into the demo and see how these perform on the cheeks. Okay, so reading Hourglass's instructions for these little blushes, they say to shake well with cap on before use, remove cap, turn the bottle upside down, and press the button on the bottom to dispense 1 drop on the back of the hand. It then tells you to use a brush to sort of stipple the product into the brush and then apply lightly to the cheek. So it says 1 drop. So I am using my BK Beauty 111 brush, and I'm just going to stipple this into the product so that it is nice and evenly dispersed into the brush, and then I'm just going to start applying to the cheeks nice and softly. If you are new here, I am a liquid hater. I should have given you this disclaimer. I don't typically reach for liquids or creams. I'm a powder girl. I just find them easier to work with. Liquids typically scare me. So I am like the liquid dummy. And if you struggle to work with liquids, then if I can do it, you can do it, because I'm terrible with them. So that 1 drop has all been used up in my brush, and I've just given that an application. This is a really pretty, soft, natural wash of colour. I think we should try and build it up. I'm really happy with this. I think this looks beautiful. It's got a lovely little bit of luminosity to it, but it's not super glowy. I have got a glowy foundation on today. I've got no bronzer or highlight on my cheeks yet. I've got a bit of bronzer around my forehead, but nothing else on my cheeks other than the Charlotte Tilbury Beautiful Skin Foundation. But this is beautiful. Luckily for me, it does look on my skin more like the images that I purchased the shade for. It doesn't look super pink. It does look more neutral and more mauvey, and that has worked beautifully into the skin. It really looks seamless, like with my foundation. Nothing has been picked up from underneath, which I really like. Let me give that another shake just in case. I don't know how quickly it unshakes itself. I have used this a good few times and the nozzle is not getting messy, which I'm very pleased about. We're going 1 drop at a time. I've accidentally picked up a different brush. I don't know why I did that, but this is 109 from BK Beauty. So just want to see how this builds. Okay, so instantly we're getting quite a bit more color. So definitely pretty adaptable and adjustable. That definitely built quite significantly from that first drop. So that is definitely a claim. I haven't even used that whole drop. That's definitely a claim that is the truth. So it is absolutely quite buildable and versatile, depending on how much blush you want and your skin tone. You can build up for sure. But luckily for those of us who are a bit scared, especially of liquid blushes, they start off beautifully soft and natural and subtle, and then you can just continue or not as much as you would like. Okay, so I've just cleaned those brushes off, and now we're going to go on this cheek with the Moment shade. Again, we're going 1 drop. It does come out really easily. I was a bit worried about that little button dispenser. I was expecting it to be like, you have to really press down, but you barely touch it. It's very easy to press. Let's try a moment on this side. Don't think I did as good of a job at working that into the brush this time. These BK Beauty brushes are perfect for liquid or cream dummies or beginners because they just take the fear away. They just do it for you. Again, that is that whole pump. Very, very soft and subtle initially, which I love because liquid and cream blushes, for example, the Rare Beauty that are so pigmented, that's the sort of liquid blush that terrifies me. And if you're not really comfortable using them, you know, you don't feel very confident using liquids, they are quite scary because you could be there looking like a clown very, very quickly. I'd much prefer this amount of pigmentation that's so easy to control with that one drop, but you can safely and happily build without fear of repercussions. Okay, so that's a second drop of Moment. Another beautiful shade, gorgeous finish, really juicy cheeks, which is exactly the pros of these types of liquid or cream blushes. Does look very juicy. I'm not sure it's necessarily, I think the lifted cheeks claim is a bit wild. I think as far as, you know, blush to me applied high up on the cheeks is going to lift your cheeks. I'm not necessarily sure that it's a sort of formula claim. And as far as the hydrating plumping, I think again, if you're putting this on top of skincare routine, SPF, primer, foundation, concealer, even powder, bronzer, etc., I don't know that it's going to actually hydrate your skin, but it can look like it's hydrating, which I think is what we've achieved here. My skin looks hydrated. Whether or not the product is actually penetrating all of those layers that came before it to actually hydrate my skin, I am unsure, but it does look fresh, juicy, hydrated. You see what I'm saying? It was very easy to apply and they are super buildable and very natural and actually very easy to use. You can't, or I wouldn't try applying this directly to the skin. I think it's going to be tricky, and I think also you'd have to have it upside down, and I wouldn't do that. So I would do exactly what I did and what the brand recommends. Apply it to the back of the hand or a palette if you have that, and then work it into your brush. That worked perfectly for me, and I think it's left us with a gorgeous finish. It was very quick and easy to apply, and I think these shades are so pretty. Which do you prefer? This is definitely a little pink for me, for my comfort zone, for my preferences. So for me, this is the winner for sure, but these have definitely passed the idiot test, the liquid blush Wally test. So this is Scene and this is Moment. Perfectly natural finish with a bit of glow. Gorgeous. They look so juicy. Okay, so a pretty successful start, I would say, for me with liquid blushes. To compare them to these new Armani blushes, which I was asked about, I think they're really similar. They obviously have completely different components and packaging. The Armani, as I said, they come with a doe foot, and these have that dropper. I do think the dropper does allow you to control the amount of product that you're using easier and quicker than the Armani, but then the Armani have the doe foot. So if you're a person who likes to apply directly onto the skin and then blend out, you're probably not going to enjoy the dropper. I didn't think I would, but it's actually really easy once you just get used to using them that way, which I love. The Armani does give you more products. There are 12 mils in these, and these are 10.3. Rare Beauty blushes, which to me are a completely different kettle of fish, you get 7.5 mils, so a little less in those. The Charlotte Tilbury are the same as the Armani, 12 mils in those beauty light ones. So these are quite different to the Charlotte Tilbury. The Charlotte Tilbury Beauty Light ones are much more highlighty, much more glowy, and then the matte Beauty blush ones are very different. They're more matte, they are a little thicker. So these I think are the closest to the Armani. These are the most similar of the liquid blushes that I own. So I'm going to do some comparison swatches because being me, I do have similar shades in these two formulas. So here we have the Armani shade 50.5 compared to the new Hourglass in the shade Moment. So Moment is definitely more orange. As you can see, the shade isn't as close as I thought. They're both kind of in the peachy family, but 50.5 is definitely lighter and more sort of corally, and the Moment shade from Hourglass is definitely a more orange. The Hourglass is also thinner and lighter, I think, and I think it also has more glow to it. Now let's take a look at Armani's 62 in comparison, and I don't think this will be that similar. So this is shade 62 from Armani, and this is Seen from Hourglass. Again, you can see the Hourglass isn't quite as pigmented off the bat. This is one drop lightly blended, and then that's one sort of stripe of the Armani with the doe foot. You can see the Armani does dispense more colour. Initially, it's a more opaque swatch. The Hourglass is lighter, thinner, has a bit more luminosity to it. The shade is kind of close, actually. I think the Armani is just a bit more of a sort of berry tone, and there the Hourglass does have that sort of mauvey pink, but definitely a little lighter. So on initial impressions, I think I'm going to prefer the Hourglass to the Armani. And the couple of reasons for that is that these are just easier and less scary to work with. I didn't find the Armani scary, nowhere near as much as something like the Rare Beauty that's uber pigmented and you have to be really careful and go very light-handed. These are very easy to work with, and I was, you know, wiping the doe foot on the back of my hand anyway, so I was kind of applying them in a similar way. But the drop actually from Hourglass, while I didn't think I'd be a fan of it, is really easy to use, and it just controls the product so well that it literally does give you one drop, and that's enough for a really soft wash of colour, which if you're scared of going overboard or not being able to blend it out or just being too much, that is, you can't go wrong. They really are idiot proof, heavy-handedness proof, because you can't pick up too much color because it's only giving you one drop at a time. So it's really easy to control the amount of product, and I like that they are quite sheer initially. I love the finish, which is slightly glowier than the Armani, just gives you that bit more glow, which I really love. That's the whole point for me of liquid blushes, is the luminosity. Otherwise I might as well stick with a powder, you know, and have an easier time applying it. So I'm very impressed with these. I think they could be my new favourite liquid blushes. This is the year of liquid blush, isn't it? Unfortunately, I'm not able to film a wear test today with you guys because we're going out for lunch, then I'm going to the cinema, and then it's my children's gymnastics. So there isn't enough hours in the day. But what I will do is pin a comment letting you know how they wore at the top of this comment section, and I will of course be trying these throughout the rest of the month and let you know my more comprehensive thoughts, having tested them out over a few weeks, in my July roundup. So if you want to see how I'm going with these a few weeks on, then don't forget to check back in my July roundup. But first impressions are so far so good. I may go back for more shades of these, which is unheard of for me, but I just love this finish. I found them so easy to use. Can I finally be a liquid blush girl? I've been trying so hard. So there you have it. Those are all my thoughts on these new Hourglass Unreal liquid blushes. I beg you to tell me, have you tried these? How did you get on? What are your thoughts? Have you tried the Armani? Do you have a preference? What are your favourite liquid blushes? What do you think? Did you have a favourite shade that I used today. Let us know all of your thoughts in the comment section down below. I hope you found this video helpful, and I would love to see you in the next one. Otherwise, take care for now. Bye 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 bye.